Hello and welcome back for another episode of Financial Freedom by Footy. In this week's episode, we're continuing our journey north up the coast of Western Australia. We've left the big city behind now and we are travelling to some truly amazing destinations, including the beautiful Hutt Lagoon, which you can see in the video here. We're pretty excited to be finally getting to this part of Australia, as there are a number of our Aussie bucket list places that are from this part of the coast and further north. We're starting to find that there are some pretty big distances between the sites we want to see now, so we've had to do some pretty big driving days to get up this coast. Our first big driving day was the day we left Perth, where we covered about 3.5 hours of time between leaving Perth and getting to our camp for the night. A lot of our driving days can be a little bit boring, particularly when there is nothing but miles of road, trees and dirt to see. But the drive north of Perth had quite a few sites along the way. One we stopped at was Yen Chep Reserve, where we could see a koala colony there. And we also stopped in to have a quick look at the Lancelin sand dunes, which it was really windy at and the sand was just blasting you, so we didn't go dune boarding this particular day. After our quick stop at Lancelin, we drove about another hour north of there to visit the Pinnacles Desert. The Pinnacles Desert is one of those places that you read a lot about and hear a lot about on social media, and so it was one of the places that we really wanted to check out. Now, we've seen some pretty spectacular photos of the Pinnacles on Instagram and the like, and we were kind of excited to come and check it out and see a bit what it was about. We did, however, feel a little bit underwhelmed with this particular spot. Even though it was kind of cool to see these limestone formations coming up out of the sand, we kind of felt like we were glad that we hadn't made a special trip to come here. There is a driving trail that you can do to take you a bit further up and around and see a bit more of the Pinnacles, so maybe the more spectacular part was on that driving route, but we decided that we didn't want to unhitch the caravan to do that, so it was time to move on. As we continued our journey north, there were a lot of spots where the land had been scorched by fires. It was pretty hot, so you can kind of understand how this can happen. But we made our way onwards and found ourselves a free camp for the night, where the boys found a giant beehive.
So where's this huge beehive?
Just take two.
Yeah, the big thing in the big hollow in the tree.
Huge, right?
It's like hundreds of bees on it. Just in that black hollow.
Yeah, look at them all. Crazy, right?
The following morning, we continued our journey north. We broke up the driving day with a quick stop in at the Linton Convict Depot. The convict depot had been used as a camp for convicts that were working in this area. What's up there, my love?
Nothing.
Nothing.
That one over there is the old blacksmith shop, was over that way.
Oh, there's not much of that left, is there?
That is? Hospital maybe?
I don't know, let's go see the sign. See what it says.
This one here was the lockup.
Although this was an interesting little stop on our way towards the Hutt Lagoon, I don't think it's worth the diversion if you're not already going through this area. So just a little pointer if you're travelling around here. Super pink. Whoa. I think it's just very dry at the moment. But look how that's almost purple.
Yeah.
I think you can really see on the phone once you put the drone up, because on the phone it doesn't look very pink. But with your eyes, that looks very pink. Yeah, I think maybe it needs more water in it to be. It's really pink.
Oh, look at that.
Pink lighthouse and 600 metres. Potholes.
Look how pink that is. Look out your window, Ollie.
It's super pink.
Yeah.
It's like flamingo pink.
Yeah, that's super pink.
The Hutt Lagoon is a salt lagoon that is coloured pink due to the high levels of salinity in the lake. This is one of a number of pink lakes that we have driven past on our travels around Australia. I'd have to say that the Hutt Lagoon is the most pink of all of the pink lakes that we have seen so far, and it is also absolutely massive. Hutt Lagoon is also one of the more accessible of the pink lakes, with a large parking area just in front of it where you can both park caravans and cars, and you can also walk right down to the salt lake itself and even into the water. It's actually surprisingly hard as you walk up and along the edges. It's quite a solid platform where you walk onto the salt itself, and the boys trekked out a little bit further following the dry patches of the salt lake, but you can walk out into the water as well. We have seen other people walking out into the water. I did dip my hands into the water to get a bit of a feel of what it was like and to see whether it was a bit stingy, a bit like the salt water that was in the salt baths that we visited when we were in near Wave Rock at Haydn. And it wasn't really, it was kind of a little bit stingy, definitely felt a little bit salty on your hands, but not to the same extent as the salt water and the salt baths at Wave Rock. The colour of the salt lake changes depending on the time of year and when you view the lake, and so we were really lucky to see it when it was looking really pink, but we have heard that it can be red at times or even purple, and as you can see in some of the footage, there are parts of it where it seems to have a little bit more water, and definitely in those areas it seems to be a bit more of the purple colour. This is definitely one of those spots that is well worth ticking off on your Aussie bucket list as you travel around Australia. So we're heading north further, and we're just we're going to have a look at the Lucky Bay campgrounds. This isn't Lucky Bay campground we stayed at previously. This is Lucky Bay and in Kalbarri. So we're not far off hitting Kalbarri and the Kalbarri National Park, but we've heard this campground here is really beautiful, so we thought we'd give it a go. So the dirt road though, I don't know if you can see, there's lots of corrugations, and it makes for quite unpleasant driving if you don't air your tyres down. So we've just come off the road, and that's the tyre system having a meltdown. It's in my hand. And Brian's letting the air out of the tyres, so once you drop the pressures it gives a much smoother ride. So we're just taking the time to do that, and yeah, we'll keep on heading into camp.
Should we go through the middle?
No.
Test the clearance.
So this is the road into, with my map, Lucky Bay campground in Kalbarri, and there was some flooding through here, I don't know, a few months ago, eh?
Yeah.
And the roads were closed, and it seems like they haven't quite yet had a grader through. Some bits are alright, but there's some interesting parts.
Some nasty ruts.
Lucky Bay Campground is a beautiful coastal campground that is located just behind the dunes here, and as you can see it is really quite a stunning spot, although unfortunately once again while we were here it was super windy. It's only $15 a night, and there are a range of campsites here, so some of them are well up into the dune area, so very sandy and very soft. We pulled in and had a bit of a look around and decided to give those ones a miss and headed for some of the harder sites that were a bit more gravel-like on the further away side from the dunes, and we took a walk down to the beach and walked along to the lagoon area, which we heard was really beautiful and really sheltered and can be a really great spot for some snorkeling. The lagoon area, which is the more calm area for swimming, is about 3 kilometres walk up the beach, and so we did do it. We did walk all the way up to the lagoon, and we did go for a swim, but it really wasn't snorkeling weather. It was just really a bit too windy in there and a little bit choppy, so wouldn't have seen very much with the snorkeling, but we did take a little bit of a dip. It was a super hot day when we were there, but because it was so windy we did get a bit of a sandblasting on the way back, so we decided that we would only stay here for one night. It must have been pretty bad because you can see people have like tried to go around it and stuff, onto some of the side bits. Might be coming up here that really bad bit. Yeah. Didn't see any two-wheel drives down there though.
No. No camper van here.
No, they listen to the instructions. Oh, there's another bad bit coming up there. I think do we want to go right?
Yeah. Get over the bumps first.
I think this is the worst one.
Yeah, I think this is the worst one. Look at that.
There's another bad one coming up. Maybe this is the worst one. Yeah, that's the worst one. Jeez. After navigating our way out of the dodgy roads near Lucky Bay, we went on to the small town of Kalbarri. Kalbarri is a beautiful little town that is located just near the Kalbarri National Park. There's no accommodation in the Kalbarri National Park itself, so you have to stay in the town of Kalbarri or at one of the other campsites in the area if you want to go and visit the national park. Around the town of Kalbarri itself, there are some neat little sights to see, as well as this beautiful lagoon where you can go swimming and fishing. We saw quite a few people out on boats trying their luck at some fishing, and while we were at the beach, we could see fish jumping. There's also a beautiful snorkeling spot known as the Blue Pools, which is sort of to the top left of the video as we're going past now, and we went out there to check out the fish life and have a bit of snorkeling fun. The fish you can see in the video here are sand whiting, and we've been trying our luck at catching a few. They're a popular eating fish around here, and there are actually heaps of them out there. You can see them a lot when we're out snorkeling, and we hadn't at this point had any luck in catching any, so it's a bit of a tease when you're out swimming and you can see all the fish that you could catch, but you aren't having an awful lot of luck with your fishing. There was quite a strong current going through this area while we were swimming. You might be able to see in some of the parts that the fish seemed to be getting pushed along with the water, and we certainly were getting pushed along with the water as well. It's one of those spots where it's quite good to get in the water at one place and let the current take you down the beach, then hop out and walk back along the beach and jump in again and let the current take you down again. Still, there was a lot to see, and it was a great spot for a quick snorkel. We then went up to the Red Bluff lookout to have a look at the beautiful cliffs along here. There are a number of lookouts along this coastline. Red Bluff is one of them. Another one we went to have a look at as well, which is the next video that you'll see in just a moment, is called Pot Alley. And you can see the beautiful sedimentary cliffs there with all the different colours. Really cool spot to have a look. And apparently it was named Pot Alley because one of the local fishermen puts his cray pots out there. We then checked out this little lookout at the Island Rock, and they also have a little natural bridge lookout in the same area approximately. So it kind of gives a bit of a vibe of the Great Ocean Road actually. Pretty similar sort of a landscape. Right, so it is 6 o'clock in the morning. This must be our earliest start ever.
No, we had earlier.
Well, earliest start on this trip. I don't think we've had a start this early on this trip.
Yeah, earliest start.
We haven't had a sunrise yet.
We haven't had a sunrise yet. And we are on our way out to the Kalbarri National Park to see some beautiful river gorges. And the reason, well, one of the reasons we're up so early is because it gets so hot out here. What did it get up to yesterday? 44 was the hottest.
Yeah.
Where we were, and we were at the coast, and apparently in these river gorges in the middle of the day it can get up to 50 degrees according to the brochures. So we have to get in and get out nice and early, and it's about a 2.5-3 hour hike. So hitting the road and hitting the trail nice and early. Sun's starting to come up. It's at 6:15 sunrise. 6:14. So it's just about to peek over the horizon. It doesn't look pretty. I mean, probably not quite as pretty through the bug splattered windscreen. Oh look, here it comes. We didn't quite manage to make it to the lookout by the time the sun started to peek over the horizon, but it was still a beautiful view watching the sun come up over the national park as we drove into the Kalbarri Skywalk to have a look. Right, sunrise, Kalbarri Skywalk. Let's have a look. And it looks like we're the first people here, or at least we're the only people here at the moment. Look at that. Is there a cafe here?
Yeah.
I'll let us that out, of course.
Cafe, fingers crossed.
Should be so lucky.
Babies.
Yeah.
Cute.
That'd make a perfect tenant. Big bird.
What are we going to see when we walk around this corner?
Cafe.
A cafe.
Bridge hanging over the world.
Bridge. Yeah, I think you're right, Sadie. Oh, look at that.
And she's closed. Why? Because there is no cars here that could possibly be there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and there's even a sticker.
Yeah, there's two. There's another bridge down there.
Look, sticker book.
Oh, there's the river.
Oh, it's pretty
Wow.
Look
As soon as we walked out onto the bridge, the wind was blowing like crazy. The bridge is kind of built out of a mesh-like structure at the base, so the wind just blows right up through it. And from this point on, you can't hear anything that we were talking about as we walked out onto the bridge. The view from the end of the bridge is spectacular. The river that you can see below is a section of the Murchison River, which winds its way all throughout this national park and out towards the coast. And this river actually ends up out at the Kalbarri township, so the mouth of the river is at the lagoon that you could see earlier on in the video. As you can see here, the platforms that you walk out onto are suspended far out over the gorge above the Murchison River. It's really quite an amazing engineering feat that they were able to get this out here, and there's information at the Skywalk that tells you a bit more about it. They had to excavate a lot of rock and put big reinforcing in that go all the way back into the cliff to be able to hold these platforms in place. So a pretty cool place to be able to watch the sunrise. We then continued out to some of the other lookouts in the area. One of them was the famous Nature's Window. So we wanted to get here early as well. It's very, very popular and can be very crowded, and we wanted to try and get our famous snap before all of the crowds arrived. So we're now just after 7:30 and we are on the walking trail. So this is the Z Bend lookout. And we're going to go have a nosy here. The flies are already buzzing all around us like crazy. And then we're going to continue the walk a bit further down the hill. And you can go down to the river. It's a 2-kilometre walk, but it involves scrambling over rocks and climbing down ladders and things like that. So that should be a bit of fun. Looks like it's going to be a pretty amazing view already. Let's go have a look. Oh my goodness, the flies are intense. Well, the sign says that that's near life size, the image. A near life size scorpion.
No, anthropod.
Oh, anthropod. Looks like a scorpion. And that's its tracks. So it's massive. So, scorpions evolved. Yeah, right. It evolved into a scorpion.
It's like, for example, you say that thing's squirrel and evolves into Blastoise.
Yeah, right.
Don't forget water.
There are a number of walks that you can do within the Kalbarri National Park, but we chose this particular one because it was one of the least challenging ones. The other walk that you can do is known as the Loop Walk, and you have to start that walk before 7 a.m. as they close the walk at that point. It takes about 4 hours to do, but it can get so hot on that particular walking track that there is a real risk that if you weren't off that early enough in the day, that you could die from heat exhaustion. So it's pretty serious walking in this area, and of course we took it all very seriously. You have to carry lots of water with you, and bear in mind that it does get very, very hot. We were super glad that we started the walk really early at 7:30, because even by the time we finished walking and came out of this gorge, it was incredibly hot. As you can see though, it is absolutely beautiful down there in the gorge. The walk doesn't take you as far as we were able to have a look with the drone. You probably could get through here at certain points, but this segment at least is closed off at the moment. There is another walking trail that I believe does take you down and into this particular gorge that we flew through with the drone. But as you'll see shortly, we didn't get to walk into this part. It's actually closed for walking at the moment, but still really, really beautiful. You can see into this gorge from the lookout, and that was where we were able to fly the drone down and into here and have a really good look around.
So, first ladder.
That's the platform and the stone below it.
9, did you say?
Yeah, 9 steps. Not a big ladder.
Alright.
Look at it. It's 9 steps from the platform. So platform's 1, and the stone where Xavier's standing now is 9.
Nice. I'll go down now. Where are we going now?
It's cool down here.
Cool.
Oh, look at that.
I think Oliver's all stinky. Bring the flies down. Come on, Mum.
I'm coming. Now I'm wondering what I'm about to see when I come around this corner. Whoop.
You alright?
Yeah, it's just a bit uneven down there.
Xavier, wait.
Oh wow.
Which way do we go?
There. The ladder where Xavier.
Cool.
At this point, Ryan decided to throw the drone up in the air so we could show you a bit more of an idea of what it is like walking down into this gorge. As you can see, it is pretty steep. You could maybe just see Ryan moving in the top right hand corner of the screen behind the tree coming down one of the ladders, and you make your way fairly quickly down the rock faces and into the gorge. Thankfully this part here is pretty shady, but it was still pretty hard work coming down this cliff. It was even harder work coming back up a little bit later when it was really hot and there was a bit more sun in this area. If you look carefully in the right hand side of the screen as the drone flies up now, you can just see the lookout that we were standing on earlier in the video, and it gives you a bit of an idea of the scale as you descend down into this gorge. So from the right hand side there, the platform, you go pretty steeply all the way down to the bottom of the gorge. So now we're at the bottom of the Z Bend walk in the Kalbarri National Park, and we're going along the edge of the river gorge, just having a bit of a look before we head back up again. It's already starting to get pretty warm and there's a lot of flies, but pretty stunning spot. Beautiful cliffs. The reality of getting kids up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go for a hike in a beautiful national park is that now at, I don't know what time, maybe 8:30 in the morning, they're starting to lose the plot. So this is fun. I think we've had tantrums in all of the most beautiful spots in Australia so far. Expectation versus reality. Although the trail ends at the bottom of the gorge area that you saw us climbing down earlier, you can walk a little bit either side of the pathway so that you can have a good look around the gorge, and it really is worthwhile. Here's a pair of eagles just up here soaring around, probably checking us out to see if we're Worth the snack. Where are they gone? Such a beautiful gorge. Look, there's one up there, I don't know if you can see. There's another one over there too. Getting back up the gorge now.
Oh, you're laying nuggets in my eye.
So beautiful. So tantrumy. Here's a video of Ollie not throwing a tantrum.
Just shut up.
Go on, Ollie, keep going.
So hot.
Yep. Up you go. So we made it back to the car. It's 10 o'clock and it's 37 degrees. And that is why you walk early in this neck of the woods. We then went back to the skywalk so we could have another look at what it looked like in the daylight, and we were pretty glad that we had gone in early at sunrise. It really was quite spectacular at sunrise and not quite the same a little bit later. About another 15 minutes or so drive up the road from the skywalk is another entrance into the Kalbarri National Park, where you can go to the Hawk's Head lookout. Now I think that the Hawk's Head is one of the rock formations on the left hand side of the video now, although we weren't really too sure exactly which one was supposed to be the Hawk's Head, and it wasn't a really clear Hawk's Head formation, but it was still worthwhile having a look here. This part of the national park probably wasn't quite as spectacular as the main part where the skywalk and the other walks are located, and it is a bit more of a drive out. So if you've made it to the main part, then probably you could give it a rest there unless you really wanted to make the effort to come all the way out here. There didn't seem to be sort of any extensive walks in this area, but a couple of short walks that take you to lookouts not too far from the car park. I think the drone got the best view of this area. The lookout itself is pretty cool, but the drone definitely got way better footage than what we could see just from the lookout. If you're coming to Kalbarri National Park with a caravan, just bear in mind there are no campgrounds within the Kalbarri National Park itself, and in the main entrance where the skywalk is, there is actually no caravan parking at the skywalk. There is at the gateway, so you can drop your caravan off at the gate to the Kalbarri National Park. However, these other lookouts, the Hawk's Head and the lookouts that are off the road where the Hawk's Head is, do actually have long vehicle parking for caravans. So we probably would have stopped in at these on our way north if we had have realized that we could have brought the caravan to these lookouts, as it would have saved us the additional bit of road out to have a look at these spots that we were already going to be driving along the next day. That's where we are going to leave you for this week. Thank you so much to everyone who is tuning in and watching our episodes. We really appreciate all of your support, and we hope that you enjoy following us as we travel around Australia full time for 12 months. In next week's episode, we are continuing further north again to Denham and the Francois Peron National Park. This is a truly stunning part of Australia with the most turquoise waters, and the combination of red and golden sands together, it really makes for a beautiful holiday destination. It also happens to be the place where we get sandbogged for the very first time on our lap so far. We look forward to seeing you again next week and sharing all of our travels in this part of the world. If you would like to get all of our episodes each week, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and you can also find us on social media at Financial Freedom by 40.